all, this is Ariashalaara, and you are tuned in to Shadow in the Valley. Today is June 15th, 2016. I want to apologize for taking so long to get this particular podcast out. I have been dealing with some things that I am trying to do in my community to help, in the Jersey City community, to help improve the conditions and bring in programs and organizations that will give our children resources so that they can have better options during their downtime. Recently, we lost quite a few young men in our community due to gun violence. One of these young men was very close to me and my family. We send our energy of peace and healing to our friend Janine Brooks and her family, and the families of the other young men that we lost. Their energy of positivity has been released into the universe to assist in the progression of resolution and will cause positive change. I also want to send energy of peace and tranquility to the families of the young men that are choosing to pick up a gun. This has to be something that is very difficult to deal with, as this affects our entire community. We lose 2 lives when every time we have these occurrences, and for this reason, I feel it is my duty to put my skills to use to help alleviate and ultimately eliminate these decisions that are being placed before our children. This past weekend, I attended the Unity Walk here in Jersey City and met some wonderful people that I will be linking up with to bring forth good change. And so it is. I will do a separate podcast to discuss those upcoming events. The last time we discussed my new journey as a minister through the Universal Life Church located in Modesto, California. The doctrine is simply do that which is right, and all beliefs are welcome. The Universal Life Church is for everyone. We accept you as you are. Before we move forward, I would like to share a moment of respect to Freddie Gray, the young African-American male that was killed last year while in police custody in Baltimore, Maryland. His spine was severed during what is called a rough ride, in which he was not seatbelted while in handcuffs, left to bounce around the van while the officer driving would then make abrupt stops and make sharp turns, and in turn, he was tossed around the back of the van. I saw the video of this arrest, and it appeared to me that his spine was severed long before he got in the van, but I'm no expert. As I was exploring my social media in April, yes, we skipped the whole month. I'm sorry. I do apologize for making you wait so long. However, I came across the story about a man in Baltimore by the name of Abdul Salam, an African-American man that survived a beating by 2 officers that had helped kill Tyrone West 17 days earlier. Tyrone West, 44, was killed by 12 to 15 Baltimore police officers and MSU police officers. On July 18th, 2013, Mr. West was beaten to death after a traffic stop. His autopsy showed he suffocated in a position in which he could not breathe. This is from a story on the Spokesman, Morgan State University, and the website is www.themsu, so it's M as in Mary, SU, spokesman.com, the MSU spokesman.com. Under the article, suffocation ruled cause of controversial police custody death. And you can find more about Mr. West on Justice for Tyrone West on Facebook. Abdul Salam's story can be heard straight from himself on Baltimore Block BLOC. And that's their YouTube page under the beating of Abdul Salam by Baltimore police. You can also follow Baltimore Block at Baltimore Block on Twitter. In a faraway land by the name of Papua New Guinea, which is in the western half of New Guinea, and it is located 250 kilometers, which is 155.343 miles north from Australia. Indonesian military have been used by UK and US run operations that make $1 million a day to clear the indigenous people of Papua New Guinea from the lands so they can mine the lands of minerals, gold, and trees. Why am I telling you this? You may be thinking, and my answer is this. Our buying power here in the US is what is causing the problem, supporting companies that go overseas. Not only are we destroying ourselves through war, mass incarceration, mass murder, prison pipeline, police brutality, when you have a system that ridicules their employees and co-workers for seeking mental health help and has laws set in place that make it legal for a skittish person in uniform to kill an unarmed individual that may even be in a damn crib, there's a problem. And the problem is us, regular citizens, buying what we have been made to believe we need. When we buy products and or services from companies that take their business overseas, happenings like what's going on in PNG and around the world, like the senseless deaths of innocent people, I'm just pointing out the obvious and trying to help you become aware of the part average citizens of America and the United States play in the wars and the destruction of our planet. Governor Gary Juffa, I think that is how you pronounce his last name, Gary Juffa or Juffa, is working hard to secure the people of PNG from the disasters we are experiencing today. So he's trying really hard so that their country does not become like the U.S. When I look at documentaries and the videos that people from PNG post on YouTube, it gives me the vision of how the Native Americans were removed from their land here. We are still experiencing the wrath of corporations. We need to be more responsible about our spending power and do research on the products we think we need and find out what they are investing in and how they gather or produce their products. Also, 39,000 Verizon workers across the country went on strike to send a message to Verizon to keep jobs in America and not take their business overseas. The strike began on Monday, April 13th, 2016. You can see more about this at the website V as in Victor, Z as in Zebra, W, Workers Rising, and that is .org. So it's vzwworkersrising.org. Also at goodjobsnation.org and so it's the number 1.cwa-union.org. One of the problems during this strike was that people were filling the positions of those that are on strike. He called them scabs, defeating the purpose of the strike. I see this as the need to make money overpowering the vision of the peace we are all seeking, defeating the message we are all truly trying to send. We deserve better as we have helped to build your company. And I believe that even us that do not work for the company but use their products need to stand with strikers by making decisions that will support our beliefs and set to motion what we truly want and need. The workers came to an agreement, winning their union contract on June 1st, 2016. You can read more about the details on the contract on Verizon, vzwworkers.org. Let's send some energy of protection, strength, and enlightenment to the people of the United States, PNG, and the other countries that are experiencing these extreme times. May the spirit of our ancestors, who are the guardians of our Mother Earth, fill the hearts of the people that are acting under the power of a God that is not best for mankind. And so it is. As I mentioned the last time, the doctrine of the Universal Life Church is to do that which is right. Whenever I say that to someone, they always ask, how do we determine what's right? Well, I've learned that there is no right or wrong. However, there are people that operate on a lower level of self, and there are those that operate on a higher level of self. I'll give you a quick explanation of those that operate on each level of self. A person that operates on a lower level of self will more than likely be raised in an environment that is of the same. Wealth is not a factor. There is much impatience, violence, and distress. in this individual's environment, and they will be comfortable with it and view the destruction or misfortune of others as victory or something to be joyful about. They are not helpful and will almost always cause mischief to put a damper on others' good moods or to stop progression of things that will unite mankind. These actions are not always done in a manner of violence, but their intention and the results will be that of destruction or stagnation. They will blame others for their own faults and be very unforgiving or feel that people should have the maximum amount of punishment for even the smallest thing they feel is offensive. Individuals that operate on a lower level will not see what they are doing as wrong, for their actions are justified by their level of understanding, and understanding comes from one's environment. There are degrees to lower level energy individuals, and not all lower level energy individuals are destructive on purpose. Some of them are very creative. So what they create or whomever they influence is going to be very materialistic and sexual in its nature, or maybe something that causes destruction and chaos. When an individual is operating on a lower energy level, they may also have a higher consciousness because we all carry God consciousness, but they will use their ability to be charismatic and loving to manipulate others to do things that feed their own physical or material desires. Some people may call it the reptilian brain taking over. The reptilian brain is the part of the brain called the basal ganglia. This is the part of the brain that controls or processes our decision when it comes to self-preservation. So it is the part that causes us to be aggressive when we are afraid, like individuals that are in an environment that causes one to be in constant fear. When this part of the brain is predominantly used, individuals will be fearful, selfish or greedy, unconscious of the effects their decisions of self-preservation affects others, and may be aggressive in all they do, probably trampling others, and sex will play a big part in their life. We all use this part of the brain at many points in our lives, some more than others, especially when survival is compromised. Individuals that function predominantly with the reptilian brain or lower chakras can learn to incorporate the other parts of the brain that help them decipher what is truly a threat from what is thought. And this will be through therapy, spiritual or religious studies, and education. I will discuss chakras and energy vibration at a later date. This is my understanding, and I can only explain to you how I understand this. And you would have to ask questions to gain a deeper personal understanding. You can email your questions to Ariashalaara@outlook.com or comment below. As for the individuals that operate on a higher level of consciousness, they may be for progression of health and good for all. They do their best to refrain from causing any ills toward their fellow man and will do their best most of the time. I say may because remember, some individuals that are God conscious or operate on a higher level may be in an environment that may cause them to have some lower level tendencies in order to survive, or they may be one of the conscious individuals that are using their higher energies to fulfill their physical desires. When one is deciphering what is right, they need to look at the entire picture and consider the consequences of their actions. Right doesn't harm others on any level. One may think that what they are doing only to themselves doesn't affect anyone else. However, we are all connected, and each person has a role in the universe. And even if one was to cut themselves off from society, they are causing harm as they are removing their energy from the progression of our purpose here on the planet. As social beings, we need each other's energy, regardless of how much we think we are not worthy of being in the presence of those that have more of anything that we measure ourselves against. We all have something to offer, even if it's just our presence as a witness. So we should consider the consequence of our own actions and consider the physical punishment or reward we would like for ourselves as a result of our decisions, actions, and words. As I end here in peace, I send out energy of perpetual renewal for the hearts and minds of those that are seeking to bring themselves to a higher consciousness. May you have clarity to choose what will be beneficial to all. So mote it be. Thank you for tuning in to Shadow in the Valley. I am Ariashalaara. Peace.